Welcome back to the Trusted Visions podcast. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for the great comments you've been sending us. The feedback we receive from you is really crucial and helps us to build this podcast, so we appreciate it very much. Over the past few weeks, we've been discussing the transition process, and today we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We have done all our due diligence. We have accomplished and checked off all the boxes, and now today is moving day. So today becomes the official day of affiliation. So Jeremy, tell us what we can expect, and so our advisors can be prepared for that day.
John, this is a great wrap up to this month's series and great question of today is the day. And what does that mean for advisors? We've talked in detail over the last several weeks about what a transition means and how to conduct due diligence on broker dealers. Well, now to our audience, you've made that decision of where you're going, and this is the day that you're resigning from your current broker dealer and moving into a new journey or chapter. And so the first thing I would say is, when this day comes and a few days prior to this day, make sure your staff is all in place and knows what their roles are. Understanding that 90-95% of the work for your transition has been done before you've even resigned. Here's where the real important work starts, from the perspective of now you got to get those assets moved over as quickly as possible to ensure you have the least amount of revenue loss as possible. So make sure all the staff's on board of who's responsible for what. The other thing I would say is make sure all of your client paperwork is prepared. Make sure it's all pre-populated. I know that you've set this date to become effective with your new broker dealer, but make sure that everything's in place, because if you need to push that transition date back a day, a week, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed and that everything is prepared, because you don't want to have any surprises of a client comes to meet you, you don't have the right documents. It's a bad look on your practice. So make sure that all your client documents are put together. The other thing I would say is make sure that your marketing materials, pretty much every firm out there will allow you to have your business cards pre-approved and printed, any of your letterhead pre-approved and printed. Make sure that you have that all in place and it's all printed, so that when you are sending out client documents, that you are able to put your literature in there, whether it's a client brochure. A lot of advisors or OSJs want to do an announcement letter and want some information about the new broker dealer to be sent to their clients. Make sure you have all that in place. And the one area I see a lot of advisors forget to mention is make sure that whoever is hosting your email domain, that it's approved with your current broker dealer, that it's set up and everybody understands, both broker dealer and you, how it's going to work once you become live. Because I've seen it time and time again where you think, oh, I'm just using this host to host my email, it's not going to be a problem. You don't check, and then all of a sudden there is complications because the hosting has to be configured in a certain way per each broker dealer. So make sure that you have all that in place. And then make sure that you have all of your client meetings scheduled. I'm not giving legal advice by any means. Attorneys may tell you differently, but you should have been having conversations with your clients over the last few weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, saying, hey, I'm going to be making a broker dealer change. It doesn't impact me being able to service your accounts or be your financial advisor. Here's the benefits. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be scheduling appointments with you to get new account paperwork signed, or I'm going to be mailing it to you or emailing it to you. Make sure that they understand the importance, if you're mailing or emailing it to them, that the quicker they can get it back to you, the quicker it allows you to service their accounts. So make sure that you've had those conversations. Make sure that you've categorized out, as I mentioned last week, A, B, and C clients and who you're going to meet in person and who you're not. But those conversations should have been had. And a piece of advice, a lot of people think this is minor, but when you're mailing client paperwork for signature, using those little arrow stickies on where they need to sign, make it as simplistic as possible for them. The last thing I would say is make sure that you have your advisory accounts. Focus on your advisory accounts first and get those moved over. Because again, as we talked about the last few weeks, Your current broker dealer will have billed those accounts. Well, when you leave, they're going to refund those clients, and then you can't rebill those clients until those accounts are moved over to the new broker dealer. So make sure that you have everything set in place and that you're focusing on your advisory accounts. And then, as I mentioned last week, always set goals for yourself and your staff of this is the percentage of assets we want to get moved over in the first 2 weeks. This is the percentage of assets that we want to get moved over in the next 30 days, 45 days. Challenge yourself and have some fun with it. I hope that you found this month's series informational and helpful for all of you. John, I look forward to the next month's series. If you need to contact me, please don't hesitate to call or text me 480-430-5012 or info@trustedvisions.com. Hope everybody has a blessed weekend and happy Easter.
Jeremy, thanks so much. That's some great information as usual. To our viewers, we appreciate you stopping by. Until next time, have a great week.